Americans have had a love affair with the home run. Because of it, evidently, people have been willing to damage their bodies. People have compromised their integrity. People have lied. And evidently, owners were more than willing to turn their heads the other way to fill a stadium. How are we like that? How do we damage our bodies? How are we so willing to compromise our integrity, even lie? How are we willing to turn our heads when we see people we love hurting themselves for some sort of gain just to fill our own stadiums, however those stadiums appear? And why? Why do we keep doing it? Why do we keep being so willing to do that kind of destruction to ourselves or to each other, to keep filling those stadiums? The man in the gospel story you just heard today was spending most of his time, most of his talent, most of his energy to build these glorious barns, only to lose it all in death. For what? Why did he do it? Because that man thought that somehow the bigger the barn, the more secure his life. The greater the accomplishment, the achievement, the accumulation of things, that somehow for him that would make his life more secure. He thought to himself, now I got what I need to be secure. Now I can sit back and I can enjoy the security I've worked so hard to have. This man in this gospel story somehow thought to himself, somehow expected that he could make his life, that he could make himself secure. He wanted what we've come to call the American dream of independence and self-sufficiency. Somehow, if I don't have to rely on you, my happiness, my well-being will be more solid and more secure, as if that was even possible. As if there was ever a way I could make myself, finally and forever, secure in this world. But we do the same thing all the time, it seems to me. We do the same thing. We dream of fortune and fame and prestige and title and honor and respect and regard in other people's eyes, to have the same sort of security this man was seeking in this gospel story. To what extremes have you and I been willing to go to make our lives secure? We are so greedy in all of its forms, as if we could secure this thing we call life. Because of our greed for security, we work too hard. Because of our greed for security, we're too ready to compromise our own integrity. We're even willing to harm our own bodies. Because of our greed for security, we're willing to sell out to be popular and famous and have the regard of others. We'll do so much just to get people to like us, or we won't do maybe the right thing so that people don't leave us. And we turn our heads to fill our stadiums, all the times thinking that somehow security can be found right here. And the scripture couldn't be any more clear. That's vanity. That's empty. That's not reality at all. We're looking, you and I, for something that doesn't even exist. It doesn't exist, the security we think we can find. Hence, Jesus, in an exquisitely clear statement, says, you fool, you idiot, this very night your life's going to be demanded of you. So where's the security you thought you were going to find now? You fool, he said. Ask him. In that moment we've captured in every church in the world, ask him if life is secure. Ask him if in that moment there was any security to be found in this world. Where, if anywhere? And we're going to keep being greedy, and we're going to keep being vain unless we come to terms with the truth that life is never, ever secure for very long. And there's nothing neither you nor I can ever do to secure our lives. It doesn't exist. This security we think we're going to get someday with the right amount of whatever doesn't exist anywhere. We can build the barns, and for a minute it might feel secure. It'll be a brief fix. It'll be a temporary reprieve from the insecurities of life, but it won't last. You know it won't last. Even in the end, especially, it becomes all too apparent that it won't last. How to come to terms with the insecurity of life. The first thing to believe, I think, and if we can believe with all our heart, is that to know that is freedom. To know that is freedom from thinking that if I have another $1 million, if I get the right grade, if I get into the right medical school, if I have enough friends, if I work enough hours, all those things, the illusion that somehow we're going to achieve this security is leaving us so anxious, so afraid. The anxiety that's filling us in our world is unbelievable. And to come to terms with the fact that life is essentially insecure as he knew it to be, will free us from that anxiety, and not even just from that anxiety. Even more, it's going to free us to focus on the things that matter, as Paul talked about in the second reading and Luke in this gospel. Free us for the things that last, that matter. And that's hands down time with people. It's hands down working towards quality, healthy, balanced relationships in our lives. If you're going to ever measure your life and the quality of your life and the worth of your life in the scale of things, building those barns or creating loving relationships, the measure is clear. And you and I will say to each other on this Sunday morning, oh, of course, Gary, of course it matters more to spend time and energy and talent on loving and being loved than on building the barns. But push comes to shove, as soon as we walk out of this church, we'll be about the other, and the scales are going to tip again. And one of the reasons we come together like this on a Sunday morning is just to keep reminding ourselves that the measure of our lives is not the barns. The measure of our lives is love. And as apparent as that is here, it's not happening as I see us live here. Here. And it's leaving us so anxious to somehow think we can do that. It's not that those things are bad to have. None of them. The achievement, those are great. Nothing is bad about those things in itself. Nothing's bad about hard work. Nothing's bad about having money. Nothing's bad about achieving success. That's not bad. The balance. And I hope you can hear Luke is just calling us to this relentlessly. 2 weeks ago in the Martha and Mary reading, he was asking the same question. And I know it stirred up a lot of conversation in this community, and some of you got in big battles with each other driving home from church that day. But I'm going to say it again because Luke is saying it again here. If it comes to having a clean and organized house, or playing with the kids, or spending time with your spouse, come on. You know the truth. You know the measure of a life. You know the balance of scales. We can't forget. Barry Bonds tied the record last night. They say that he'll probably skip today, not play, so that he can break the record in his hometown tomorrow or the next day or the day after. If you do happen to watch him break that record, I'd ask you to also be aware of the sense you might have as you see him break it, of what an empty victory that might be for him. So full of mixed regard and disregard. So full of cheering and booing. It's like getting an A on a test you know you cheated on. If we spend our days worrying to build our own security for ourselves, no matter the records we break, no matter the barns we build, no matter the money we amass, no matter the accolades we accumulate, it will be an empty victory for us too. An empty victory indeed.